which was corruption, and we're always obviously uncomfortable with that issue. But what you would also realize and see, and the philosophy behind these interventions that have been happening, is how do we separate or eliminate the touch points of a potential investors and a business with the government. And the idea is that the moment you are able to eliminate the touch points, it also leads to potential elimination of corruption. The other larger philosophy behind the rankings that Mr. Singh's department carried off was to ensure that every department publishes in totality what are all the requirements needed in order to get something done. So if somebody wants to apply for electricity, it should be published that what are the 2 or 3, or even if it's 10 documents, what are those 10 documents? So at least there is a finality in terms of what is needed. And second, all of it needs to be published online. And moving from there, one can then think of a stage where everything can be transacted online. And that should lead to the issue of corruption that Sanjan was talking about. From there, I would move to the next issue that has been on people's mind is the larger ecosystem in terms of ease of doing business, which is not just what the states are doing, but also what the central government is doing. You touched upon taxation as a larger issue in terms of retrospective taxation, and also issues faced at the ground level, issues with the local government, and also issues around whether the ecosystems for certain infrastructure exist or do not exist. So, Sanjan, any views on that?
Those are the kind of issues which, when a British business is thinking of coming to a country like India, they to some extent expect that actually some of the infrastructure, be it physical infrastructure or bureaucratic infrastructure, is weaker. And I think that so in a way, I would say that that's an area that can continue to improve, but is not something. It's something that people have acknowledged when they take the decision to come and look at this market. And I think the problem with the other kinds of easy doing business issues that we alluded to in the first round is that those are the issues that are not expected and are fundamental to your risk factor. So I think that's clearly an important factor. But I wouldn't say it's a deterrent factor in terms of investment. I just wanted to pick up on something else you said, which is talking about eliminating touch points in terms of addressing corruption. I think that eliminates one area of corruption, which is corruption around registration and regulation of your business. But quite a lot of our businesses are involved in bidding for contracts. And I think there are touch points. And you cannot eliminate those touch points. So how do you tackle corruption that occurs when you are bidding for contracts? That's not an issue in any way aimed at the central government, because in many cases those project issues will be with state governments. But I think the experiences that we hear about is the challenges around corruption in the kind of project commissioning and delivery process.
We have, as you know, on the Make in India launch, which was done in December, we have identified 25 sectors, and on each sector, which have at least 8 sectors related to infrastructure, we have prepared action plan for 1 year and for 3 years, and all that action plan has been taken up by the respective departments. We have prepared action points for all departments, be it shipping, for port infrastructure, for highways, for the aviation sector, for businesses, for export and import, whatever infrastructure is required. For example, for port infrastructure, we have studied the Singapore model. A team had gone there, some other ports where the turnaround time is less, where the approvals, clearances are very fast. We have studied those, and models have been prepared, which have been handed over to the shipping ministry, though their officials were also there in the study. So all that has been done, and since infrastructure has a gestation period, it will take some time, but you must have started seeing the positive developments which have started taking place. and we are working on the infrastructure development direction also. On the corruption issue, the physical touch point, I believe, eliminates all corruption. Like if there is an online system where you upload everything and you get a registration in real time, that eliminates corruption altogether. I, as Commissioner of Commercial Tax in my state, when I got into the registration process, I found that there is an inspection before registration. I was the first commissioner to remove that inspection before registration. I just said no inspections required. There were some complaints that a business may, after 3 months, he will file his returns. In that 3 months, they can do any hanky-panky and flee. So my boss told me that we should address this. Then I started a risk-based inspection. I said, no, I won't inspect all establishment. I'll do a risk-based inspection so that not more than 10% will be inspected. But first I'll register, and only then this inspection will take place, so that inspector can't demand any money before the registration process. And I'll tell you, let me be frank, many commissioners, when we used to meet every 2 months in Delhi, oppose that you are not doing the right thing, and there will be pressure on us also to do this. And this, if we do this in big cities like Delhi, Mumbai, etc., there will be a lot of evasion of tax. I said, no, I won't go back, and I've done it, and it will there to stay. So this is how you eliminate corruption in the registration process. In the approval process, also, if everything is online, a timeline is specified. What we have asked the states, specify timelines and mandate it in an act. There should be a Service Delivery Act which should specify timelines. And if an authority doesn't adhere to the timeline, he should be punished. Not just by a notification or by an order. So all this will eliminate corruption. I'll give you an experience of a corporation when I was the additional MD. It's a road development corporation of my state. We used to work backwards. We used to ask the minister, please give us a date for the board meeting, wherein the tenders were approved. From there, we used to work backwards, 30 days for a tender, then 7 days for scrutiny, etc. And then we used to calculate how many days we require, and we used to issue a tender. On the day of the board meeting, before the minister left, we had the proceedings drawn up. We used to ask the minister to sign it. Before midnight, we used to issue all the work orders. And this is a system which can be done anywhere. What is required is a will on the part of the establishment, and the government, administration, to do a system. Physical touch point is not there. If it's not eliminated, I personally believe that all corruption can be eliminated.